Hello, people. We are back out for another day of diving. It's been about 3 weeks, almost a month, since the last real calm and flat day. And when it's a calm and flat day, I swim out to a spot I only go when it is calm and flat because I want good visibility when I dive out there. And as you can see, I start swimming out here. Already can tell it's going to be a good day. It's like a quarter-mile swim to get out to where the reef starts to drop off, and this is just as that starts to happen, but I'm going to take my first little warm-up dive. Just tuck into 20 feet here, get in this little crack, sit, see if anything comes in, but really just warm up the lungs and get the body used to diving before I hit deeper waters. I've still got a couple hundred yards till I hit the section reef that I want to dive and actually hunt, so I'm just going to take a few of these before I get there, make sure I'm all ready to hopefully get into some fish. But just looking around, not seeing anything good that I want to shoot yet. Throw out a grunt or two, see if anything. You never know what could come in at any time, but not this time. So I come up from that dive, and I'm feeling pretty good, and as I'm swimming to my spot, I see a little pile of moo just chilling off. So I take a nice breathe up and take a drop, and before this I had never shot a moo. Come close a few times, but that anybody that spearfishes knows they're a smart fish. For whatever reason, they're wise to the tactics, but apparently not wise enough today, because I get down here and I'm just making sure to stay real still. I got my face down, not looking at them, just dusting a little bit with my hand. Take a little peek-see up, and my GoPro is angled bad, so I can look at the top of my mask and see them, but you guys can't see them when I look up like that. But I can see them, and they're sliding in, so I just keep trying to do the same thing. Keep my face low, but still kind of peer at them right through the top of my mask. And they're just slowly creeping in. They don't swim, they glide. And so they're just slowly gliding towards me. And I just keep on doing it, trying to stay calm and relaxed. I think it ended up being like a 2-minute breath hold, so it was definitely a good one, but he's coming in. I take a lunge on him, it's just boom. I hit him, and I can tell by the way he's swimming and the way how much shaft is sticking out of him. I can just tell my spear's not all the way through, so I'm playing him very lightly. Just gonna pull him up real slow and be real cautious when I go to grab him. He does a little spin kick right here, scares me to death, because I thought he was gonna just flop off. But I grab him and I look, sure enough, no flopper on the other side. But the flopper I think actually opened inside of him. Almost got away there. I think it opened inside of him, which just kept him on the spear just enough. Of course, always brain and bleed. Make sure he's out of his misery. And bleed. Make sure to preserve that meat quality for myself. But this was my first moo I've ever shot, and yeah, I was pretty excited. But not a bad one, I'd say. Definitely 3, maybe 3.5 pounds. Not a giant, but not a baby either, so I was super stoked for that to be my first. That was my second drop of the day, and my first fish of the day, so we're off to a banging start. But coming down here, and here is the one issue of this video. It's this stupid water bubble. Now, any videos going forward, I've already got a new GoPro housing that doesn't leak anymore, so it'll only be for this video that this is here. You see that Moana collie swimming in the background, but you'll just have to endure. I know it's high quality content over here, but I promise it'll be gone next video. So I'm hoping this Moana collie, which was swimming just off to my left there, is going to turn around, and he did. He's coming back over, but not really coming towards me. He just kind of turned and kept heading off, so I decided to go up and try to get another good breathe up. And while I was up there, I grabbed my float line and kind of bounced the weights off the bottom, maybe kick up some sand, just a little commotion, maybe keep him in the area. And this is me after I breathe up, heading back down. Kind of in the same general area, but I've lost him at this point, and I'm just hoping he'll come over and check me out when I hit the bottom. Just kind of come down next to this bit of reef here. Mr. Water Bubble is back, of course. Throw out some big dust and some grunts, just to maybe attract him. There's that big moo pile off in the background, and they're keeping their distance after I just shot one of them. You usually get about one moo out of a pile like that, and after that, in my experience at least, they're too wise to the tactics. After that, they're like, I'm not getting anywhere near you. But I'm just down here waiting, hoping that Moana collie comes back, and he does. He slides right in, and I thought he was going to swim in front of that little coral head there, but he swam behind it. I knew he'd turn around, and I don't know why I didn't take that shot. I should have. He was definitely within range, but I just wasn't 100% with it, and I thought I would get another shot at him. But after this drop, I took a few more dives in that spot and never saw him again. So kept on swimming and back out to a familiar section of coral head that I dive, you know, maybe once a month, if I'm lucky twice a month when the weather is right. But right now I'm coming down with a 3-prong, trying to ambush that roy that's sticking out. And right as I was going to shoot, he darts back in. So no invasive on this drop. Try to see if he's hanging around, but they usually never do. I'm thinking maybe I could pop one of these guys, but they're also kind of being a little squirrely. None of them want to kind of give me that slower swim that I want to take a shot. They're all just cruising around and being weird. I think maybe if I make a little motion that they would come in, but no. They're good. There's always tons of life on this section of coral. Big crack in it. There's just never not fish here. And Mr. Water Bubble is back. I'm sorry. It might annoy me more than it annoys you guys. Probably not, but I hate not being able to see the action just as much. I'm just kind of creeping, crawling over, looking for any pachis or any other fish that are gonna pop out of these holes, and sure enough, a pachi comes out right there, and I'm able to just get a nice holding shot on him, push him into the reef, make sure he's fully on the spear and can't wiggle off. But I got my second fish. Decent sized little pachi. Another breathe up, another drop, and I'm gonna try to go do the same thing I just did. Just gonna come down and peer over, see if anything else pops out of that hole again. Not seeing anything, so I come around and just kind of lay in the sand and peer down into it a little better, and you can just see them flying around back there. They're obviously not happy that I just popped one of their homies right in front of them, and they're not very interested in sticking around to give me another shot. I'm trying to line up on one and hope they just stop and I can get a quick one, but they're moving, so I decided to head up and try one more angle in this hole and see if I can't get one. Coming down at a different angle, peering into that hole from the top, and you can see they're a little more relaxed. I'm just waiting for one to give me an opportunity. Stop in front of this little pocket. One does. I hit him. You can see he's on. Wiggle, wiggle. I try to push it and like jam him in, but I think that might have been him right there. I just felt one more little wiggle and then nothing. And he got off. Must not have had a good enough holding shot. Check out all those fish eating off the turtle shell. That's cool. But after that, I decided enough messing. Time for some invasives. And of course, I didn't film it, but I dove bomb on this Roy and shot him in the face. And now I'm just gonna chum him up, try to attract some bigger fish. And to those who don't know and are wondering why I'm not eating this fish and why I'm just cutting them up, Roy are an invasive fish in Hawaii, so they were introduced in the 1950s. They're not supposed to be here, but they're also, it's like it's a grouper, so it's a good fish to eat, but they're known to have something called ciguatera, which is like a toxicity in the meat. And if you eat a Roy that has ciguatera, you can get really violently sick, and it is not a fun experience. So no eating Roy for me, but come down, lay on the bottom on another little section of reef. Still tons of life. Veke, Ta'ape everywhere. And I see a Munu in the background coming to cruise in, so I try to lift my gun and move it over this coral head and bump it right on the coral head, and he turns around and cruises on out of there. He's not a giant, but still a nice little fish. And I was just kind of chilling, waiting, hoping he would come back, but he never did. Some little baby moo. But head up from this dive, take a nice breathe up, and drop again. So I'm coming down, just another blind drop. Didn't see anything, but I'm just gonna try to lay down here, be super relaxed, make a little commotion, and see what I can bring into me. A little look around. Some baby moanos cruising around. And tons of other goatfish and tapes just everywhere. And I really wasn't seeing too much else, so these pilanis were cruising around right in front of me, so reach out and poke one. And got me some more good food. This one's a really colorful one. Sometimes they're like, kind of like dark gray, black, and you can't see any of the detail, but this one's real lit up with all the lines and real bright blue tail. Really cool. Get the gun all reloaded. And then grab the 3-prong and come on down and try to get a few more pachis. I know there'll be some pachis just kind of cruising in this crack, so I'm just moving real slow, creepy crawling, till I see them floating around in the background. And I'm just waiting for one to give me a nice shot. One comes up. Get a nice, solid holding shot. He kind of kicked a little bit right there, so I pinned him to the rock. Made sure he wasn't going nowhere. And of course, anytime, any fish, same thing. Brain and bleed. But another drop. More pachi hunting. And I came down and this big one was just staring at me. And I thought he'd just come back up and give me another look, but he never did. And then one comes out right here on my right, and then another one on my left, and so now I don't know which way to move my spear. And I'm still just waiting. I'm hoping one will pop out of that hole right where my spear tip is. And sure enough, one comes out, so I wait for him to stop for a sec and bop him. I try to get greedy and go for the double up again, but they were not happy about me shooting the other one. And I almost got that one, but he juked me at the last second. So I head on up and take one more drop in this spot, and you'll see the reason why it was my last drop in the spot. So I come down, and the tide had also started to push in some murky water. I look up, and Mr. Taxman cruising around. And this is the same shark I always see in this spot, so I'm not freaked out or panicking. I'm just a little less sure of my position in the food chain now. So So I try to focus on getting one more pachi, but of course I gotta take a look behind me and make sure nobody's sneaking up to bite my booty. Maybe one more peek over here. Let's see if any more pachis will poke their head out. But no pachis, just this big old puhi staring at me, giving me the side eye. So I tickle his forehead a little bit and give him a little more tickle tickle. He's biting my spear tip. He's not happy. So I decide that's a good sign that should be my last dive here. And this is how I had a couple of my fish just kind of floating off the buoy, and I decided with Mr. Sharky hanging around, I should probably remove the fish I plan to eat so it does not disappear one of the times I'm not looking, and put it on my belt kui so at least the fish is close to me. But quick look at the kui, not a bad one. Drop the half a roy, kinda use it as like a throw spoon. Get down, see if anything came into it. Looking around, looking around. Kind of grab that roy and throw it around, flash the tail, flash the white side. There's a couple munus that came in right there, but they just came in for a quick sec, saw what I was and took off, but kept on swimming, and sure enough, Mr. Sharky went and ate that roy I dropped, and then was just cruising around below me for a sec. And as I was swimming in, saw this guy, and decided to give him the poke. Almost missed him, but got a good enough shot that it held. Got one more invasive off the reef, but after that it was back into the shallows and time to do some gutting and scaling. Hard cut back to the kitchen. Time to get this fish filleted up and ready for cooking. Always make sure the knife is sharp before we begin. Start off with the pilani. Gonna just remove the head. Don't mind the vacuum in the background. And then start the fillets. Making sure to stay nice and close to the meat, or sorry, nice and close to the bone. Get the other side. Fish scraps will go in fridge, and I'll either use them as chum or a base for fish stock for soups or anything like that. Make sure Kitty gets some fish. Gonna split the fillet in half, remove the pin bones. Makes it easier for the skinning process. I really like skinning the pilanis. They've got this like kind of leathery skin. It makes it really easy to just grab and drag the knife, and you get these nice clean cuts. You waste no meat. And these pilanis are just kind of flat oval fish with 2 slabs of meat on either side. They're easy to shoot, easy to hit, and usually there's a few of them hanging around. So they're definitely one of my top spearfishing fish that I get. But get him put in the freezer, and time to get the moo. Now there's a lot more meat on these moo collars than the pilani collars, so I'm going to make sure to put those aside and throw those in a bag. I'll cook those up and eat those as well. Same thing. Remove the head. Crazy mouth on that guy. And just same process. Stay close to the bone. Get the meat off. Cut through the pin bones and the rib bones. And now you gotta do the other side. Nice clean skeleton. And same. Remove the rib bones and then remove the pin bones. And with this fish, I scaled it in the water, and I'm going to leave the skin on and cook that up with it so I can get some nice crunchy moose skin. But get those pin bones out. And half of this fillet is going in the freezer. It's getting full in there. And the other half is going in the fridge to chill while I package up everything else. But time to get the rest of the food prepped. Some garlic, some shallots, and some bok choy. Get the pan hot. Get some olive oil and throw all the greenery in. Brown to your liking. Get pan hot again. More oil. Season. I think I just use salt, pepper, and some like lemon garlic. Get some butter in the pan too. And I got some pineapple habanero. If you know where to get that stuff from, you know. Got the rice in a bowl. Make it all fancy. Flip it. Put a lid on that. Got some just hot sauce. Some avocado. Some beautiful fish. And then last but not least, we got the egg for over top. I'm gonna throw in a little soy sauce there. Put that egg right on top. And let me tell you, this was some of the best fish I've had in a while. But thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and hopefully I see you guys in the future. Peace.